Hello, happy crocheters. This is Lindsay from windingroadcrochet.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make these wrist warmers. For this project, you're going to need a medium weight yarn, about 1 skein. We also need scissors, a yarn needle, and a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. To start our project, we are going to create a slip knot about 8 inches from our yarn end. We will use our yarn end to sew up our wrist warmer later. Insert your hook and begin to create a chain. We will chain 47. When you've completed your chain, we will begin row 1 by working a single crochet in the second chain from the hook and each chain across. I like to work into the back bumps of my chain, but you are welcome to work into the chain any way you like. Once you've worked a single crochet in every chain across, you'll have a total of 46 stitches. Chain 1 and turn your work. To do row 2, we are going to single crochet in the back loop only of the first 5 stitches. You'll do this by pushing your hook down through the middle of the top of the stitch, yarning over, pulling up a loop, and pulling it through the 2 loops on your hook. Again, down the middle of the top of the stitch so that we're only going under the back loop. Repeat this for your first 5 stitches. Next, we are going to work a texture stitch. This is how we will do it. We will single crochet and double crochet into the next stitch. Then we will skip a stitch and then single crochet and double crochet into the following stitch. You'll repeat this stitch pattern 7 times. So let's do this. We're going to single crochet into the next stitch and then also double crochet into the next stitch. Now we will skip a stitch and repeat single crochet and double crochet into the next stitch, skip a stitch and repeat until you've repeated this a total of 7 times. Once you've worked the repeat 7 times, we're going to remember to skip a stitch for the last repeat and single crochet in the following stitch. Now we are going to create the back end of our wrist warmer. We are going to single crochet in the back loop only of the next 10 stitches. This is just like the first 5 stitches of this row. This project is a 2-row repeat. We will be repeating rows 2 and 3. And you can find the written pattern on my website at windingroadcrochet.com. Once you've completed your 10 single crochets in the back loop only, then we will work 16 half double crochets in the back loop only, and that will finish off our row. So you'll yarn over, working under the back loop only. You will half double crochet into the next 16 stitches. So here is our 16 half double crochets at the end of the row. Moving on to row 3, we are going to chain 1 and turn our work. We will start the row by half double crocheting in the back loop only of the first 13 stitches. After working 13 half double crochets in the back loop only, Now we are going to single crochet in the back loop only for the next 13 stitches. Now we're back to working our texture stitch. We do this by working a single crochet and a double crochet into the next stitch, skip a stitch, single crochet and double crochet in the following stitch, and repeat this a total of 7 times. So working into the next stitch will be a single crochet followed by a double crochet in the same stitch. Skip a stitch, work a single crochet and a double crochet in the same stitch. And just repeat 7 times, remembering to skip a stitch between the stitches that we work into. Once you've repeated the pattern 7 times, we're going to remember to skip that last stitch and single crochet in the following stitch. Then we will finish our row by single crocheting in the back loop only of the last 5 stitches. Once row 3 is complete, we are just going to repeat rows 2 and 3 until we have a total of 27 rows. So as a reminder, your next row will be 5 single crochets in the back loop only, then 7 repeats of our texture with a single crochet after it, and then we will work 10 single crochets in the back loop only, followed by 16 half double crochets in the back loop only. Then when you come back, you're going to work 13 half double crochets, then 13 single crochets, both in the back loop only, then your texture stitches, and then your 5 single crochets in your back loop only. Continue to repeat those 2 rows until you have around 27 rows. You can add additional rows or take away rows if you have a wider or thinner arm. Once you have all your rows complete and preferably are ready to work an even number row, like for me this will be row 28, for the very last row we are going to chain 1 and work a normal single crochet in every stitch across. That way our last row matches our first row. And ideally you want this to be an even number row so that you will have a yarn in on both sides of our project. So simply single crochet in every stitch across. Once you've worked your last single crochet, you are going to want to leave yourself about 15 inches of a yarn in. Clip that off, yarn over your hook, and pull the yarn through the last loop on your hook. Now we're ready to sew our 2 yarn ends together, and if you did it right, you should only have 2 yarn ends to weave in. At this point, we're going to take our wrist warmer and fold it in half. You can see how the way we stitched made this be the shape of our arm. We did a lot of shaping with the stitches that we chose. And now we are going to seam everything together. At this point, all we have to do is sew 7 inches down this way and 1.5 inches down this way using the yarn ends that we already have. Starting at the bottom of the wrist warmer using the yarn end we have, I'm just going to stitch under the first 2 stitches twice to make sure it is secure, and then stitch up about 7 inches. Since the gauge for this pattern is 4 inches per stitch, that means we need to stitch up about 28 stitches, but you can of course adjust this so that it is a custom fit to you. So you're simply going to continue whip stitching up to just a little bit into the textured space. Once you've reached the 7-inch mark, I'm going to make a second stitch in the same spot as my last stitch. I'm going to leave a loop, twist that loop, insert my needle to create a knot, just to make it a little more secure. And then now I will weave in my ends. Since this is a wearable item and you will most likely use it, hopefully, and wash it, you're going to want to weave your yarn in back and forth at least 3 times. And then just clip your thread. Now you're just going to repeat this process for the top part of your wrist warmer. It's going to come down about 1.5 inches, which should be approximately 6 stitches. But again, you can adjust it to fit you however you'd like it to fit you. I believe I brought mine down about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. And once again, I'm just going to make a knot and then weave in my ends. And there is our first wrist warmer all finished. And it fits nice and snug around our wrist. There's also a pattern for a child size, but the child size uses only single crochets and none of the half double crochets that we have at the end of this wrist warmer. Now you just need to make a second one and you will be nice and warm this winter. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching my video.